personal connection is I love the show that Deborah has created, but I used to watch it with my sons, and that's something we've continued in this new iteration. But the character that I play was connected. Was in the original series, had been leapt into, his life had been sort of turned upside down, and it put him on a mission that he gets a chance to I won't say fulfill, but the possibility in this new, 30 years later. And so my character's journey is, such a part of it, but the show itself is, it's the show itself is, it's 30 years later, and Magic has been very instrumental in getting the program back up, and do you have anything to say on that?
I think choosing Magic was a really clever way back into the show, in the sense that the title Magic kind of describes the show. It's science fiction, but it's really about people and the magic you create for yourself. And if you go back to that character in that episode, he was already magic. He already had an instinct to save lives. So it doubles back in on itself story-wise, in that, I think that Time or God or Ziggy or whoever chose originally Sam and then chose Ben, because these were two characters, two people who had that innate, I gotta save the world feeling that we all need. We all feel it, but some of us don't do it as much as we should. And I think that having Magic be kind of the center reason that everything is happening, because he knew what happened to him, he didn't understand what happened to him, and he went on a journey to try and figure it out. It's really about self-realization, which is where we all are. So the show plays on so many different levels. It plays in societal messaging, in the sense that what would it be like if suddenly you were walking in a black man's shoes, or you were walking in justice of the court's shoes? What would it feel like if you had power that you didn't have before? So it's a play on can you imagine? And it also is a play on, maybe I can understand that person better, which is what the stories try to do. And originally, and they picked it up, I think, beautifully. We get to stay more in the present in this show. We can afford to stay in the present in the last show. It was budgetary. But at the same time, and I think Ernie said it just a minute ago, he said that, we are 30, 40, 50 years in this storytelling process, and it's kind of amazing when you look at something that happened in 1994, that happened in 1967, that happened in, that things have changed, but how much have they changed? And how much can we take and embrace and go, that's why that happened. So it's a great show to learn from. It'll entertain you. It'll take you on a roller coaster ride. And it's cool to show on TV as far as I'm concerned, because one week it's a comedy, the next week it's a drama, the next week it's a thriller, the next week it's a horror show. We can do anything we want. And I think the audience loves the variety. It's an actor's dream. It's a writer's dream. It's walking in someone else's shoes. What does that feel like? I think that is something that we all need to do more of. We want to understand what people are going through and why they're feeling what they're feeling, and I think that's what helps. That's what helps choose the shows. I know originally it was really a guideline. We weren't always looking to do social comment, but there were certain things that were just right for us. What is it like to be a woman in 1961 when you had no voice, you had no rights, you had no power, really? And what was it like to be a black person in a riot? How does it feel from the inside out? Those are the kind of stories that I think, again, make people understand help people to understand each other better.
I help people to realize too that it really is choice. I think we're at a point now in our evolution that we're making, like we got some serious choices to make, and sadly we're sort of unconsciously making them. And I think the show reflects that, yeah, that decision could go that way, and there's serious consequences, or it could unfold this way, and it's a totally different thing. So I think just the awareness that we and a lot of these choices we're making based on just our being unaware of who each other is, and that's the exciting thing for me right now. Is that, yeah, it's about what are we gonna? Do we really want to keep doing this? You know, so. Um,
I think that's important. I think that we definitely, and truthfully, you can watch the show and just watch it for the entertainment value.
Yeah.
Have a fun ride. It's a good show, great dialogue, good music. Maybe cry a little bit, maybe laugh a little bit, or you can go, oh, that's why that happened. And you can then turn around to somebody that you care about, that you're watching and sharing the show with, and say, did you feel that? Did you get that? And now you're into a conversation. And that's the power of WonderCon. As far as I'm concerned.
What can fans look forward to as far as the season now?
Oh my God! It's so good. You have to watch it. Need I say more? It's a really good one. I think that if you've been following the show, the setups are all paid off. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, the reasons, how we got to where that's sort of clarified, but in that clarification, other complications and other reasons for moving forward, it becomes very exciting. And yeah, I think the season finale sort of really kicks the next evolution, but it also sort of clarifies some of the mystery that we've been playing with.
Once you mess with time,
Yeah.
stuff happens.
Time messes with you back.
Time messes with you back.
Oh, okay. Well, the really challenging thing is getting up in the morning, and but I think for as a character is really sort of trying to be there to. He's developed this family to sort of nurture them to move the program forward, but yet really falling apart in other areas of his life. The sacrifices you make to do this, there are consequences over there, and how do you reconcile that? How do you be here 100% and not be there at all? And all those things are sort of playing with who he is as a human being. So how I make that make sense in the character. But I will say, it's not that it's not challenging, but this is the most fun group of people I've worked with. I know it's sort of a nice thing to say, but really, the actors I'm playing with, these are truly, truly talented people, and it's just a joy to sort of learn from them, But I realize I'm not the kid, I'm sort of the old guy here, but it's really it's a great cast.
But I think you've nailed something so wonderful that the first show didn't have, which was the family.
Yeah.
And you're kind of the father. You launch this, they go to you, they're young, the energy, and they bring their issues to you, and you have got to guide them, still being in charge, but still being emotional. And if I can say, I think it was episode 3, the Bounty Show, when you talked about being leapt into. And that was something that we really never did. We would give a little bit of verbiage to it, but when Ernie did that, I was watching them shoot, and every take, he took you there. Every word, every feeling of what it must have been like to lose control of yourself, but still understand something, and then coming back and seeing and hearing what people said you did and not remembering it. He nailed it. He really did. And he's right. We have an incredible ensemble of actors who are like a theater troupe. When they come in with all this dialogue and shift, it's a dance. It's a true dance. We're blessed. Again.
Yeah, you don't always see that. worked on a lot of shows, but the desire to make that decision and show up and to flesh the characters out and tell the stories, it's very, very unusual and very exciting.
Yeah, in the sense that I'm trying to think, we did some pretty daring shows for women's rights, for animal rights, and we were lucky enough in this show to have Shakira, who is a writer, who is trans, to tell the story, and we're incredibly lucky to have Mason. So it was built into the doors that were open to us, and it was also at a time, I think the original show was 1989, and there were some hard times for LGBT people at that time. AIDS was just coming really online. Nobody knew anything about it. We wanted to get there, but we were off the air in 5 years. I think had we stayed on the air, all of those things would have been brought to the surface and addressed, because it's that kind of show. You can have that deep conversation. And I think now with the new series, Dean and Martin have really worked hard to diversify behind the camera, in front of the camera, and so we have so much more representation and opportunities to tell these stories. So
and being someone who I mean, I've been around a while, so during that 80s, 90s period, and our perspective on things, you asked about the challenging on the set. I mean, for me to adjust my perspective, because we're all sort of in this changing, how do we get the pronouns right? How do we be respectful? How do we open ourselves up to all of that is at play, in the stories, but also, behind the scenes. And I'm learning, and it's difficult to let go of your stuff to realize that, do I really want that? This is kind of a cool time. I think I'm learning slowly, unfortunately. Good.